children will also be reading a brand new children's book from one of our favorite authors. He's become my favorite children's author, and that is John C. Wilburn, better known as Speedy's dad. And Mr. Wilburn joins us now. How are you, sir?
Hello. I'm here.
What a great day today!
What a great day!
I appreciate the offer to come and the hospitality. You guys are great. Coffee is BuzzBox. You can't beat that.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Thank you, Mr.
That's
Wilburn.
good stuff.
Yeah, I have to call you Mr. Wilburn. Is
No,
that okay?
no.
I just feel like I know you're an author now, and I should be saying, John, tell us about Larry. But since I've known
John's good. John is good.
Yeah, since I've known you a long time, to me, you're Mr. Wilburn.
Yeah, if you're Speedy's dad, you're always Mr. Wilburn.
That's right. Yeah. But
except for Greg.
Y'all are raised good.
Yeah, except for Greg, who
That's
for some
incorrect.
reason is giving you a nickname, but as he does everybody.
Right.
That's all right.
So this book, I know that you've written poetry, and for some reason we've let Greg read those.
I'm a little disappointed, and I get it. John Ed is way more qualified than me to read this book, but I did have my heart set on it.
We have Speedy's niece, John Ed Sheridan, here today, better known on the show as Reg's wife.
Right.
And
We're mad because Reg didn't come.
right. And then Lynn McCraney, Speedy's sister here. And Greg really had his heart set that he would go read Larry the Leaf.
Look, I know they got to bring a pro
Well,
in.
you know what? What I did, I got a quarter, and I said, heads, John, you're going to read, and tails, well, Greg's always a tail.
I'm giving it back to you. I like it.
But I'm still the official poem reader on
Oh,
the show.
yeah. That's
Yes,
it.
he
That's
is
it.
indeed. He
So
is.
there.
So to kind
Nervous?
of unpack the story, what was this something that you always had thought about? What was how did this happen? You end up writing this book.
Well, it was really interesting. I retired from a day job about 6 years ago, and I was sitting around. I've always had a passion about writing poems, anything, have a kind of an active imagination. And I sat down in front of an old antique desktop computer in 2013, and it just kind of came to me. I wanted to write about a leaf, and I guess one reason for that was I had a flashback, like we all have sometimes, and when I was a kid, probably 8, 10, 12 years old, we climbed trees quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The kids nowadays stay inside. They don't know what outside looks like, you know. And
Sad.
so at any rate, in one of our games we played at this one tree. It wasn't a maple tree, which is what we wrote was what Larry is, but it was another type. And we would have a little contest like who could find the biggest leaf. We'd overlay them and see who won the deal, you know. And the guy that won got 10 marbles from everybody.
Oh.
Yeah, because we shot a lot of marbles out on the dirt, you know.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I was thinking about that and just kind of started. I said, well, leaf. What rhymes with leaf? You know, in terms of a name, and I came up with Larry. Yeah. And it just began to flow. Just and I kind of hunt and pecked at the keyboard probably over a period of 4 months. I would maybe write a sentence or a paragraph or half a page and walk away for a week, and then come back, and there it is.
So the question that we've already asked you on the phone, but now that we have you here,
Let's just revisit it.
when we look at your son's blue eyes, and we look at the blue eyes of Larry the Leaf,
Yeah.
there is a striking resemblance, and I'm wondering, is this sort of loosely based on Speedy?
Well, Speedy Calvin, as we call him at the house,
Right.
that flirted with me a little bit. I said, well, some of the characteristics and some of the trouble that Larry gets in, it kind of reminds me of Speedy.
Thank you, Dad.
Well,
He streaks at one point during the show.
Well, Larry doesn't wear any clothes.
Larry's pantsless.
So yeah,
Watching you over there.
yeah, right. So there's a great message in the book. What was obviously when you think about a leaf and a character, you start thinking children's. But was it always just drawn to trying to come up with a children's book versus writing a book for adults or something like that?
Well,
Or is that still to come?
that's still actually I've written an adult book, but I've still got it at the house.
Yeah.
You know,
Is that a novel or is it something?
it's called Let's Just Think Happy Thoughts. It's more of an inspirational scripture driven book.
Come on with that.
And it's got 10 chapters. And what that came from is that growing up, my mother didn't like any controversy around the house. Anytime anybody got in an argument, I don't care if you're talking about a ball game or what, she'd always stop. She'd say, "Hey, wait a minute, everybody. Let's just all think happy thoughts."
Oh.
And so I've always remembered that. And so I sat down a couple of years ago and began to, I guess, outline something like that. And so, I came up with chapter names, and I would go back and fill in the blanks, so to speak. So I have a passion for that. I have a passion for poem writing, as you guys know. In fact, I've got a lot of them. Primarily, I would say patriotic type stuff.
No,
and also I've written a lot of what I would call Christian type poems.
Yeah.
And in fact, the publisher wanted me to package those and send them to him, but I haven't done that.
So this is something that's been a passion for you your whole life, or just your adult life, or
pretty much I probably since mostly my adult life. I guess I started. In fact, John Ed over there, back when I was at work, and she graduated from college. She was working in Atlanta, and I used to send her emails every now and then about a rabbit called Wiggly Ears that was always looking for John Ed because John Ed exhibited great character and determination in life, and Wiggly Ears wanted to know how to find out about that. But anyway, so I've had that kind of imagination all the time. And I've enjoyed. It's a passion, really. I guess a passion.
I guess that skipped Speedy.
It did. It did. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, I
Well,
I was waiting on you over there.
you see different talents in
Being
the
quiet.
family.
Right.
You do.
With Mr. Wilburn being the writer, and you have
Yeah.
Uncle Duke, who is the dancer.
Right.
And then
Brought him up.
and then there was Speedy
Then there was Speedy.
The bald guy.
yeah, right. I guess Lynn is the one who is creative. And,
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
John, I don't know, Speedy. We don't know what to do with you, do we? I mean,
it is kind of neat to see, and we've talked about this as a family, to see all this happen for him because he has had so much of a passion for it. He would send us stuff, and he still does to the family. We're on a big group message where he'll send a poem that he's written, and we try to save all those for him. But to see all this happen and how it happened, it's really kind of neat. And so today's a really big day, and I can't thank y'all enough for this.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
well, see, this is your role. I mean, now for just a serious moment, you think about God's plan and His design for all this. Your role in all this, you now have been afforded by God a platform that when this was completed, you can go back to your dad and say, "Hey, I can help with this."
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is kind of
right.
pretty incredible.
I'm very much honored by my kids. You know what the word says about those that honor their mother and dad. You know, they got a lot of good things coming for them.
That's right, amen.
And too, I want to recognize John Ed over there. If I got a minute to do that.
Sure you do.
Basically, I wrote the story, and it just kind of laid in our computer. I said, "So what? I wrote this, and it's no big deal." And she came through the house about a year ago, roughly, and she found it and read it, and she said, "Hey, you need to do something with this."
Oh.
And then she called me after that and said she found a publishing company in New York City that I could send it to. So I did, and they accepted it. And about that time, my wife saw a commercial about Christian Faith Publishing, and I said, "Well, I like the name Christian Faith better than the other one."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So just based on that, I contacted them and I sent them the deal, and they liked it too. So I called the first bunch and said, "Sorry," and so I went with Christian Faith. And so it's a very lengthy, as Sherry knows, a very lengthy process.
Yes,
and
yes, it is.
So it went in. The editors first went through it because they're not going to change a word because I'm the author, so to speak. But they'll correct punctuation and spelling and all that. And then they wanted me to come up with some illustrations because it's a children's book. And of course, with my eagle eyesight, I couldn't come up with that. So they said, just do a word picture, and we'll give it to our art department, and then they'll take your description and draw a picture and send it back to you.
Boy, they did a good job.
Yeah,
I
they
like
really
the look
did.
of that.
And so when they sent it back to me, well, then I would send the email to Johnette because she's my eyes.
Right.
And then she would look at it. She'd say, "Hey, Granddad, it looks pretty good here, but the eyes
Let's
are not
change
big
that a little
enough
bit,
for
right,
this
yeah.
and that and the other,
Didn't send it to me. Yeah.
And then
Didn't send it to Speedy.
No, because I don't have that
No, I didn't
artistic
do
look.
that.
I can't. I would have gone. Yeah, it looks fine. It's been a stick leaf. You know.
Yeah.
So then she would send it back to the. I told her to forward it back to the publishing company, back and forth, and it took almost a year, to get the whole thing done. So here we are.
It looks great, and it reads great, and as you can tell, we'll talk about the response to it and how you can get it, and boy, is it moving. Larry the Leaf by John C. Wilburn. We'll be right back.
Rick and Bubba.
Speedy's dad, John C. Wilburn, here today. He has authored a brand new children's book called Larry the Leaf. It is available wherever children's books are sold, but I'll give you some pointers today. If you're trying to grab it, Amazon's on back order a little bit. They're going to get them to you, but It's not going to happen quickly, but Barnes & Noble, and we have that at in show notes at rickandbubba.com as well, is getting them to people pretty quick. See, remember we said on the air this week talking about the book, there's a lot of lines of people to get this book. Go stand in the shortest line. And so
Amen.
Barnes & Noble link is a shorter line than Amazon, and you can find other links as well and places to buy. Larry the Leaf, the children's book, and it is available and going well. Mr. Wilburn, has the publisher been pleasantly surprised by? Did they know your boy had a radio show that could move some books?
Not initially they didn't, but they do now. I gave them a heads up last week and again yesterday that they better get their act together because there's going to be a lot of stuff coming, you know. But you know, you learn that you get into this business, and which is I'm a novice, but you learn a lot of the stuff that you never knew before. Like the publisher really doesn't print any books.
Right,
You know,
you're right.
There's a big, massive distributor out there. In this case, it's called Ingram that interfaces with all the retail outlets, so to speak, online and also brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that kind of, you know, they're the small loop in the hourglass.
Yeah, and it is available at brick and mortar stores as well, so you can go in and try to find it there.
Well, it must be in demand. I ordered a bunch
It
from
is.
Amazon, and I haven't got them yet. So
Well, in that regard, a person told me yesterday they ordered several. These people live in Louisiana someplace, and they got a email back saying they would receive them anywhere from, I think they said the 15th of March to the 23rd of March. So Amazon is running, you know, two and a half weeks behind.
Well, and then how that works, Amazon has now become the Walmart of e-commerce, and what they
Yes.
try to do is say, don't give us too many, but you better give us enough, and then you try to figure out what that balance is.
Yeah.
Because if you send them too many, they send back whatever they don't sell. If it starts to sales start going down.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult
Yeah.
inventory control situation. We went
Exactly.
through it. We went through it with Sherry's book as well, so I certainly understand. Johnette is here. And of course, her husband has become very famous on the program.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah,
He's a big fan of Regs.
yeah.
Or
So,
Greg's, rather.
Yeah,
Greg and Reg, it rhymes.
have you ever thought about them doing like maybe a podcast, Greg and Reg?
That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I like that.
I was hoping Reg was coming today.
Yeah. Yes.
We'd be.
wait, is Larry the Leaf snorting? What is
Yeah,
that?
that's one way it is.
Man, I didn't know you had
That's
that.
that black bear.
Yeah, it comes from the Willie Bowl.
Yeah.
You know,
All right, so
when we got
It's
to
his
Johnny,
fault.
you got to read this though, and you're going to do it with multiple
Are you
voices and
yeah,
things.
yeah.
I got a few voices in my tool
Oh,
belt
yeah.
here. Okay, so
All right,
to-
Johnette's reading Larry the Leaf, a part of it.
This is an excerpt. Yeah.
so to set this up, Larry kind of goes through all these changes that happened to him throughout his short life on Max, the maple tree, and this is one of the surprises that comes about that Max has warned him about, that he's happy about, and he knows it's going to be okay. So he's not stressing,
Okay.
but it's still kind of funny.
This
so
thing is about Speedy. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So this is when fall comes and they start to change their color.
Oh, watch out.
And then there was a scream. It sounded like it came from Flo. She was shouting, "Something's wrong! I'm changing color!" And the leaves from all around began to exclaim the same alarm. Larry looked around, and then he looked down at his chest. He too was changing color. So now he knew. This is what Katie and her dad were talking about. He took a long look at Flo, and wow, her soft green color had turned into a pinkish red. She was absolutely stunning. "Oh man, Flo, you are beautiful," Larry blurted. Then Flo looked at Larry and gasped, "You're not green anymore." Tobias croaked, "Hey, Larry, dude, you're looking a little rusty." Over the next few weeks, their new colors became more defined. Flo turned a magnificent royal red, and Larry became a handsome yellowish rust color. About this time, Larry noticed that his stem grip was losing strength. He checked with some of the others and discovered they were all having the same problem. To be continued.
Good job.
So this is really about Speedy going through puberty. I
We had no idea.
You beat me to it. I started to say that.
We're on the same page.
Okay, Rick, and I get why Johnette gets to read it, not me. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, Greg, she's
You
a
don't have
little-
near as many voices.
She's a little
No, she's talented.
Well, if
I'm,
Greg
I'm just
did-
a good one.
Well, Greg,
Every character would be some redneck from Alabama. Larry said that air tree.
what would be funny is if the kids are going, is this one of the characters? No, this is how this guy sounds.
Yeah. Now, Dad, I will tell you this. Helmsy is very talented in the mascot world.
Here we go.
Oh,
and
yes.
so if this really continues the path it's going on. Besides getting some merchandise and stuff, he thinks that you ought to get a Larry the Leaf mascot, and he'll wear it and come to your appearances.
And we've seen him in action.
Right. Write that down, somebody.
Listen, that's a great idea because I picture, obviously Larry the Leaf. You see that, and it's
kind of like Helium Boy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then it'll have to be two legs, but both of them are brown, and like when he's standing there with them together, it's a stem.
Yes, I like that. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
I believe Larry the Leaf is going to continue to expand. In fact, we've written the second Larry the Leaf.
That was my next question.
Yeah, that's what we want to know.
And
Where do we go from here?
It's called Larry the Leaf and the Thieves, and the funniest part in it, this is just kind of bait everyone, tease everyone, is when Larry tries to explain to Randy the raccoon and Sammy the squirrel when they get inside of Katie's house how to dial 911. And Randy says, we don't know our numbers.
That's so good.
That is.
But that's in the
so
future.
they have asked for a second book already.
And Rick, the third one, Larry and the Big Yard Fire.
And then after that, animated TV series.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh, speaking of that, let me just say this, and I don't mean to hog the show here, but
Well, you're our guest. You're our guest. It's your.
I was told yesterday by the publisher that this will be the first year they've done this, but they're going to select in their archives an adult book and a children's book, and it's going to be very competitive. And at the end of the year, they're going to pick one in each category and do a movie. And
watch out now.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'll be I don't know how many what the competition is, but the guy that's pushing my book through the system. Of course, they all say the same thing, but he said, I'm pulling for your book. It'll be an animated deal, so I don't know if that'll work out for me or not, but that's in the
Coming to Saturday morning cartoons.
Coming to Saturday morning. All right, go get it. It's at rickandbubba.com. Good to see you, Mr. Wilburn. We'll be back.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.